Hi, Eileen. Hi, Eileen. Can you hear me okay?
Hi, Calvin.
There we go.
Sorry,
It says I'm, go ahead.
I was away from the computer.
It's okay. It said I was in a practice session.
Yes, I haven't started the webinar. I won't start it for another 5 minutes.
Okay. And that's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like we have any attendees waiting to come in anyways, so.
Good. So we have been building on a house for quite a while, and the brick masons were out yesterday
Oh,
doing the fireplace.
Calvin, we're live streaming, so
Okay.
I would hold off on any
Personal items.
any personal thing.
Can I put this over there?
All
I'm
right.
gonna mute.
Thank you.
I'm going to mute.
This is my gavel. And we're live. Oh, here, we'll do something.
Yeah, we took it off the
Um,
record.
that's what? Trying to turn the flash on. Oh, there Right. Right. The heat feels nice behind me. And if you talk, they can hear. They can hear me too. Okay. Hey, Rod.
Hey, Calvin. So I promised to you that I would not turn up if I was sick, and I see that you're not there. I'm sick and you're not there.
Well, I really appreciate that. And I know we're live, but I had,
Sorry. They can hear you now.
Oh, good.
You were
Yes.
just to the void.
yeah, we'll talk about it
Yeah,
later.
we'll talk about it later.
And,
Yes, the
yeah.
webinar has started. And we are live on YouTube, so anyone who's watching can definitely hear our conversations.
Hi,
So, friendly
everyone.
reminder.
Well, I was going to give you the lottery numbers, Kelvin, but I'm not going to do it now if it's going to be public.
Bummer.
Bummer.
All right.
And we do have a quorum.
Okay.
We're just waiting for Mr. Personia, so if you want to.
I'm just waiting till just after 6.
You look like you're in a medieval castle, Kelvin.
Yes.
That's my fireplace. Here's my gavel.
Nice.
Yeah.
So here's the ceiling.
All right. It's pretty elaborate.
It's like.
Then yeah, I guess it does look like a castle.
It does. That's good.
When
Okay. Okay. Good evening. The November 13th, 2025 Whatcom County Planning Commission is called to order. I'll call the roll. Kelvin Barton, that's me. I'm here. Red Brown,
yeah,
Benita Eisenberg. Benita Eisenberg. Jim Hansen. Jim Hansen.
Here.
He's here.
Microphone not working?
Can you hear?
Yes, I didn't hear him for a little while. Yes. Julie Jefferson? Julie Jefferson? Nicholas Greif?
Here.
Daniel Dunn?
Yep.
Dominic Masseri?
Here.
Scott Van Dalen?
Here.
Okay. Right. Please join me for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so it's time for department update. Planning Director Mark Personius, would you give us the department update?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real briefly, Commissioners, just schedule update for you. Tonight's chapter 10, the environment chapter, public hearing and your deliberations. Your next meeting next Thursday, the 20th, will be city county UGA proposals, following up with Everson, Linden, Nooksack, Sumas, Cherry Point, and the rural and resource lands. And then the next meeting, which after Thanksgiving, you get that off, we'll be back on December 4th. And the Birch Bay Community Advisory Committee requested that we push your consideration of the Birch Bay UGA proposal off until they had seen and they were scheduled the Blaine UGA proposal. So both of those would be scheduled for December 4th. Along with chapter 2, the land use chapter, and chapter 3, housing chapter. So,
Wait, sorry. So we're on December 4th?
yes,
Birch Bay and Blaine and chapters?
yeah, 2 and 3. Well, the UGA proposals are all in chapter 2.
See my eyebrows?
Yeah. That's about it. It's really mostly what you've already heard from the cities. It's their UGA proposals.
Okay.
And there's goals and policies, but they're all mostly pretty specific to them, so there's not, from a goal and policy standpoint, there's not that much there really. It's the UGA proposal.
We're not meeting
That's
every
chapter
week?
2 and chapter 4.
Yeah.
Chapter 2, land use, and chapter 3, housing 3. Yeah. And we can have
Week is the 20th.
follow-up meetings.
Only 27th.
Yeah, something like a lot. I got it right there, so.
The one thing about putting chapter 3 there, because I don't know that we will get to it, is we're still gonna have to have our public hearing on it though.
Yes.
And then, so we have people that come for that one, we don't even talk about it, but then we gotta have a public hearing just to get out of the way. Doesn't seem like if we're not gonna actually be able to deal with that one in that meeting, it's good to have it there.
Housing. Chapter 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we really don't think we'll be able to get to it,
Yeah.
then it's like we have the hearing. People sit through the whole first one, some of them leave, but we just get the hearing in because we have to, we don't even talk about it.
Yeah, we can, that's one we can, it would be at the end of the agenda, so it's easy to roll that one into the next meeting if we don't get to it.
But we have to have the hearing, and then if people don't stick around because it was at the end, I don't know.
We could have the hearing on December 11th also.
There we go.
We can
That
just
sounds
push it off on the next
Okay.
agenda.
I think that would be better.
It's interesting, not a lot of folks have been showing up for the public hearings, so I think they're getting their comments in writing and so.
You're just pushing stuff off till after your retirement, right?
No, I'm not retiring until this is done.
Down with the bow.
No,
So you think maybe December 11th, chapter 2 and 3, or December 11th, just chapter 3, or?
Possibly chapter 3. I would want to put chapter 2 on with Birch Bay and Blaine, just because it's where all the UGA proposals live.
Yeah.
So. It'd be nice to at least get those done and have less to deal with for the next couple of meetings after that. For the final. Okay. That's all I've got, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. So it's now open session for public comment. Eileen, would you take over, please?
Yes. Welcome to the meeting. The meeting is being broadcast live and the audio will be recorded and posted to the website. we have one public hearing tonight, which is chapter 10 environment. So you can speak on anything you wish aside from that. That will be, you can speak on it during our public hearing part of the meeting. I have no one in the room, so I will go to the attendees online. If you wish to speak during this open public comment session, please raise your hand. You'll be given 3 minutes. Seeing no hands raised, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Eileen. So it's time for commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments?
I had a quick scheduling question. I think I heard that the Nooksack UGA was going to be on the agenda, but I thought we voted on that already. So I just was just curious why that was going to be on the agenda again.
That's Mr. Personius, would you answer that question, please?
Well, I didn't want to answer that question. I don't know. It was just on that rollover list.
Until we approve it, it'll keep coming back like a zombie.
Well, technically, yeah. No. So I think because you guys had requested additional information on the land capacity analyses.
Oh,
and
yes.
that was supplied to you. That's why that's still on the agenda. In case you have any further questions.
Yes,
Commissioner Downey requested those.
I can speak to that. When I talked to Matt Ammett, he said after that was because of the addendums that they brought in the land capacity spreadsheet, which is why even Everson is coming back to the table.
So Nick, that's my fault.
No, it's fine. I just, it just feels like if we've made a recommendation, which unless I'm mistaken, I think we made a recommendation. Like I don't know that it needs to be on the agenda unless someone requests it from the commission.
All right, did we get it answered okay, Commissioner Greif?
I mean, I think my last comment, which was that I don't think it needs to be on the agenda unless a commissioner specifically requests it once it's been dealt with. Frankly, arguably, it shouldn't be allowed, I think, from a Robert's Rules perspective, to come back in the agenda unless somebody on the winning side of the motion requests for it to be re-reviewed, right? Like we took a vote. There was an affirmative side and a negative side. The negative side prevailed. So unless one of the 5 members or however many it was that voted against, request for it to come back, I don't think it should be allowed to be back on the agenda.
Did I see Commissioner Masseri's hand up?
Yeah, just a question about procedure. If they've amended it, and does that, and I'm asking the questions as far as Robert rules or whatever, if Commissioner Greif is correct that it would be inappropriate, if they've amended it, does that change to what would be essentially an amended proposal that people could take action on if they wanted?
Well, I would say that if the proposal has been amended or if county staff has changed something, then they're going to bring it back to us. And so then that would be a reason for it to be on there. And we do try to follow Robert's Rules of Order, but we're also working to help the county and in this case, the cities and urban growth areas to set their guidelines for the next 10 years. And so if it was changed, like if staff said, we couldn't, it turns out we can't do that. We have to come back and bring this back to you. That would be a reason for it to be back on there.
Yep. I think that's just my request, is that if it hasn't been changed, if there isn't a change, if it's just, we've submitted what the data was that was part of a commissioner request, then I don't think it should return. But if there is a change and they want us to reconsider it because it's been changed to attempt to address concerns from those that were on the winning side of the motion, then that makes sense to me. But that wasn't clear to me that was the case. And that's why I just wanted to raise it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Commissioner Hanson, I believe you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that I attended the Nooksack Salmon Summit today, and I was quite encouraged by what I learned about processes and projects ongoing and completed by project partners, including the county and the tribes and land trusts, NC, et cetera, that have been proven to be successful in the Upper South Fork using natural solutions to create water storage, to raise the bed level of an incising river, and to create mechanisms to allow flood storage in the floodplain that would not only help recharge the aquifer better for water supply, but also provide flood protection and salmon habitat. So when we look at issues around the river and water supplies, I think we should be encouraged that partners are using natural solutions to address the problem and working with the local communities to do so.
Thank you, Commissioner Hanson. Commissioner Brown.
I was going to flippantly suggest that, given that Mr. Pausanias can't retire until we're done, that we might want to start over. But besides that, I just wanted to make a comment on a more serious note. Sorry, Mark. Last week we talked about Bellingham's UGA proposal, in particular their issue about affordable housing. And as you may remember, I was pretty irritable about that presentation, and I walked away starting to think through the numbers, and I read through all the materials, and I just want to make sure everybody understands what's being proposed, which is they need 12,000 units in a community that is rated as the most expensive place to build housing in the entire state. To build a low-income housing unit in Seattle is 300,000. Spokane, it's less than 300,000. And in Bellingham, it's 450,000. So I want that one to sink in first. And then the second thing is the proposal to fund the construction of that at the rate of $133 million a year would require that we raise taxes on every family in Bellingham, every household in Bellingham, by $3,000 a year, over $3,000 a year. There isn't a taxing mechanism for doing that. That would translate to $300 a month, roughly, $250 a month, roughly, in an increase in rent for every person who's renting. I mean, and then on top of that, it would push, that additional burden would push a significant percentage of the population into the category that needs financial subsidy. So it becomes the self-perpetuating doom cycle. So the reason I'm saying this is I think we've got to push back with Bellingham. They can't give us a proposal and say that they've met the requirements of the comprehensive plan that is not physically possible. There's no mechanism to raise $133 million a year. The community could not afford to pay $133 million a year. And the elephant in the room, which they're not addressing, is why does it cost 50% more to build a housing unit in Bellingham than it does in Seattle? So I'm going to provide some documentation to support what I've just said, but I want to make sure that's left on the table and we understand that, because I think we have an obligation to push back against it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other commissioner comments? All right, let's move on to approval of minutes, October 23rd, and then we'll follow that up with October 30th.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Greig,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Boisseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
passes.
Okay. And October 30th.
Move approval.
Commissioner Van Dalen.
Yeah,
Did you have
I'll second, but I do have a correction on page 7, line 18. And it was just line 18, Roland Harper, it says Seahome Planner, but actually he's works for Everson and Nooksack and Sumas. So, and then we were discussing, it was for Everson in that one, unless I missed something.
That's actually, his company is Seahome Planning.
Okay,
It should be planning.
Oh, plan.
okay,
Okay.
okay,
He's just a consultant.
okay, perfect. I wasn't aware of the name of that, so.
Good
Sorry.
catch, good catch.
Okay,
I'll
Okay,
make
we
that.
got, have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Dunn,
Yes.
Greif,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Mosseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
yes,
Brown,
Yes,
Barton,
Yes,
passes.
all right. And so today we have a public hearing and a work session on chapter 10. And Director Personius, is there a presentation to be made prior to this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real briefly, this is the environment chapter. It has gone through pretty extensive review by outside advisory committees, by other departments and staffs that we noted in the cover memo. And I want to just emphasize most of the changes come from the Lyra One watershed staff team. And I think in the little comment bubble, there'll be WST, if there's a question about where that proposal came from. The Lyra One salmon recovery staff team, and you'll see that coded as SRT, I think WSRT in the comments. The Lyra One planning unit, and you'll see that as a PU in the comment bubbles. The Flood Control Zone District Advisory Committee, Whatcom County Public Works, Natural Resources. You'll see those as an NR in the comment bubbles. And we did invite the Public Works Department staff to be here tonight. They could not because they are all attending that salmon summit that Commissioner Hanson mentioned. They have an evening.
Oh, that's right. They have it. Yeah, meet and drink.
Yeah.
I mean, meet.
Yeah. They have an open house this evening too, so they couldn't attend. So, but I think I can hopefully answer if there's any questions about that. Whatcom County Public Works Stormwater, Whatcom County Public Works River and Flood, County Health Department, PDS, our consultants, SCJ, the Wildlife Advisory Committee, the Food System Committee, the Marine Resources Committee, and the Shellfish Protection Advisory Committees all reviewed and provided comments. So, so that's what you'll see. There's quite a bit of change. This element hadn't been updated in some time, and one of the main drivers of these updates was to integrate a lot of that Lyra One salmon recovery plan and planning efforts that are ongoing through the Watershed Management Board into the comp plan. And so that was the goal. And that's why you see so much update to the narrative here in the text to kind of explain those other programs that are going on to protect salmon and try to protect salmon habitat and restore habitat, as well as updates on flooding and updates on water resource management. So anyway, it's a big catch-all chapter in that. And then Eileen is here to we'll have the element up on the screen, so we can just kind of roll through if you have changes. You've got changes submitted from Commissioner Hanson and Commissioner Dunn. And Kelly Chamberlain is here to take over to do the minutes so that Eileen can run the computer and I don't have to, which is a good thing for all of us. So that's all we got. If you're ready for the public hearing.
All right, thank you. So I will open the public hearing. Public hearing's open. Eileen, would you take over, please?
Yes, as stated before, the meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to our website. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak on chapter 10, and I see one attendee with their hand raised. I have Kaya Hayes. Do you wish to speak at this time?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Kaya Hayes. I'm the Land and Water Policy Manager for Resources, a Whatcom-based environmental advocacy nonprofit working to secure a climate-resilient Northwest Washington, largely through policies that protect land, water, and climate that we all depend on. We appreciate the extensive level of staff and advisory committee engagement involved in updating this chapter. I wanted to share a few of the main themes of our feedback on the Chapter 10 environment draft, which come in addition to concurring with the comments provided by the WIRA 1 watershed planning staff and planning unit staff. We'd like to see strong language included in the policies related to county protection of remaining ecological and watershed function. There should be an emphasis on providing sufficient funding and staff support to take a leadership role in implementing both voluntary and regulatory-based policies, including enforcement where applicable. We'd also like to see clear, actionable language around restoration of degraded natural system function to achieve outcomes from many county priorities beyond environmental health alone. While the GMA requires mitigating loss of critical areas with a bare minimum no net loss approach, the best available science and recent activity at the state legislative level point to the necessity of adopting net ecological gain as a planning standard moving forward in order to keep pace with the impacts of climate change. We'd like to see policies more explicitly plan for and address the risk posed not only to future development, but existing development in hazard areas, particularly those projected to be exacerbated by climate change in the coming decades. This includes not only riverine flooding and sea level rise, but landslides and wildfire threats to lives and property and the wild and urban interface as well. Throughout this chapter and the plan as a whole, we'd like to see language that integrates the lens of climate resilience and environmental quality beyond the scope of environment-focused decisions. Critical areas represent the beating heart of bare minimum watershed function. They're the underpinning of long and short-term well-being, socially, environmentally, and economically for our region. We must continue to weigh the short-term economic trade-offs of environmentally protective policies against the very real stakes of what eroding this foundation means, which at worst can look like losing our chance to secure a viable long-term future for Whatcom County at all. I hope you'll take these into consideration as you weigh the amendments and proposals in your discussion tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Seeing no other attendees online, Chair.
Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Okay, it's closed. And so, and thank you, Eileen. I really appreciate how you take care of that.
You're welcome.
So, commissioners, work session time.
Mr. Chair, do you wanna, Eileen had sent out the combined comments and motions table. Do you want to just run through that as we start anyway, as our guide?
I think that will work. What do you think, commissioners? Does that work for you?
Yeah, I will have some as well, but let's do the ones on the table first.
Okay, yeah, Eileen, that would be great.
Commissioner Brown, if you can email it to me so I can have it ready, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, Eileen, I will. I'm my current state of health has slowed me down a bit, but I will get them to you beforehand.
I appreciate it. We have Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a couple questions. First of all, the section I cited, could somebody tell me what page it's on? I'm trying to scroll in a document to find that page and I can't find it again. But environment and property rights, where is that?
Let me get that.
And while you're looking for that, the second question is it a state requirement that we specifically address issues with supposed issues with property rights, that being a subchapter that we're required to have under that title?
It's not a element unto itself, but it is one of the goals of the GMA.
So they use that phrase in GMA.
Okay.
Yeah.
That changes how my amendment, proposed amendment would be.
But They use that exact phrase, property rights. It's actually the title of that comprehensive plan element.
Commissioner Hanson, it's at the bottom of page 10-8.
I went too far, okay.
The subheading is called the environment and property rights.
Right.
I'll pull it up right now.
And then it really, most of it's on.
Okay, so this is my amendment. To start out, after that title, the environment and property rights, insert the first bullet there. Federal and state constitution clearly protect property rights. And drop out the without rhetorical flourish part, just federal and state constitutions clearly protect property rights. So we start that section with saying that, and then go on to everywhere it says property rights. Alter it so it says I'm getting dingy here.
You said at the top of the page.
Property prerogative.
At the bottom.
After that, everywhere it says
Bottom,
property
that
rights,
right
change it to say property prerogatives. And as I explained it, there's a lot of confusion of what property rights are. And some people think that that includes whatever they want to do is a right, even if it doesn't comply with the best needs of the rest of the people in society. Whereas a prerogative is really straightforward. If it is basically all the things you can do with your property are your prerogatives. They aren't necessarily rights because they're conditioned by our rules, regulations, statutes, etc. So I think that's why I think property prerogative is a more clear-cut phrase than property rights. And to use that gets away from a conclusion that there's some people have a tendency to make that when we make regulations for the common good, that we are basically taking from their property value, in which they might consider arbitrary and capricious, but it actually wouldn't be arbitrary and capricious unless it was specifically aimed at them rather than everybody in their zoning area or in their critical area or what have you. So that is my proposal, that we make sure that they know that the federal and state constitutions are protecting their property rights, and then start calling them property prerogatives throughout the rest of that section.
What do you want?
Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, I'd speak against this in part because it's a very well-defined term. It is one of the growth management goals specifically referred to as property rights. If it doesn't fundamentally change anything in your mind, then Jim, I would say I don't think it's if it doesn't fundamentally change anything, it's not worth the significant backlash that I think we're going to get from the community, because it will confuse people, and it will seem like
Second it so you can oppose it.
Sorry.
Would you like to second it so you can oppose it?
Yeah, so and thank you, Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, so
I was going to point out we don't have a
perfectly right.
second.
Yeah.
We do not have a second, and we've had some time to get one, so I'm gonna to rule that we should move on to the next one.
Commissioner Dunn?
All right, yeah, so this chapter, I mean, it says up there in my description, the chapter's a goal, not a mandatory element. And the comp plan is like a bajillion pages already. So my thought was, because this is a goal, like the other goals, that we could consolidate this into the other chapters. The goals that are also listed in the RCW, just so we're clear on what a mandatory chapter is versus mandatory goal. Like after the environment, like the other goals are like about permits. There's a goal about property rights. There's a goal about open space and recreation. a goal about citizen participation. We don't have chapters for all those different things. So my question is like, why do we have a chapter for this one specifically? And if we consolidate this all into one, like I think we could just take the goals and policies and put them into everything else. And then in addition, being perhaps slightly facetious, but the introductions here just go on and on, like throughout. Like there's got to be 20 pages of like background description, which is great if you're reading a book, but it's I don't think we need it almost any of that here. You just need goals, you need policies, it needs to comply with GMA, and it needs to be internally like what do we call it? Internally comprehensive or internally consistent. Thank you, with the other goals and policies. So my motion is to delete 20 pages of introductions, have staff incorporate the goals and policies of the other existing chapters, and remove this chapter from the comp plan.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. There, Commissioner Van Dalen.
Question for Mark. Any input on this motion, Mark? Any thoughts from the county planning department?
Well, this chapter has been around for since the first comp plan in 1997. And as I mentioned, this is the most significant update probably to this chapter we've had in the last 2 decades. Because of mostly because of the salmon habitat, salmon recovery plan and watershed management protection and water resource protection. So part of what this element does is sort of give the background to the context to the goals and policies, background about what the county's programs are that are working on these issues and why we're working on. It is not Commissioner Dunn is correct, it's not a required element, but it is an optional element under GMA. And we do have other optional elements that we've included. Economic development was optional, parks and rec, things like that. So that would be my comment, I guess, is that there's a lot of folks who have I think a lot of input in this chapter and would not like to see it sort of disappear. So, speaking mainly on behalf of the other departments that are doing flood planning and water resource planning, salmon habitat planning, and those kinds of things.
So, Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, I'd speak against the motion. I agree with Mark. A lot of people have invested a lot of time, and it expresses what they think is important. And while I would certainly entertain, selective changes, if there's a justification for it, I can't support deleting 20 pages of everybody else's work.
Commissioner Hanson.
I didn't have my hand up. Thank you.
Oh, it's raised on your on the screen. Oh, now it's gone.
It's Commissioner Van Dalen. Commissioner Van Dalen wishes to speak.
Go ahead, Commissioner Van Dalen.
Just to add to that, then I would probably go against it too, just because of the setup of everything and the work, and then a whole nother delay as we're almost into December, and it's just another thing to come back, and they keep coming back. It just, I'm kind of getting concerned about the end of the year thing. Timeline.
Commissioner Gray.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I think I like the intent. I do think the new inclusion of the climate chapter as a mandatory chapter means that there's more overlap than there probably was when this chapter was first proposed and written. And I think there's definitely some good thinking into saying, okay, should we have those combined in the future? But I think at this stage of the game, and considering the depth of this chapter, that it would take significant amounts of work that we should maybe make a recommendation to staff to do and think about as they prepare either in the next update in a few years or the next comp plan itself.
Right, is there any other discussion?
Yeah, I want to get my hand up.
And who is that? Because I'm not seeing it.
Oh, this is Dan.
Go ahead, Commissioner Dunn.
I think reading the room, I'll withdraw the motion. I don't think we have to vote for this one, so we'll just save time and move along. But thank you for the conversation. It's good to hear.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and who was the second on that?
I second it. That's fine. We can withdraw it.
All right.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Yeah, so my next one is, I'm just kind of pulling through to the thingy here. Is on page 10.1. And I've got to adjust my screen here so I can get to it and I can read it. It's just linguistically, it didn't quite make sense to me, so I recommended a change there. Oh, here we go. So this is, oh, here we go. And the, okay, in the introduction, so it starts off, each person in Whatcom County has fundamental right to a healthful and safe environment in which to live and grow, including the Nooksack tribe and Lummi Nation, which have treaty rights dependent on restoration and protection the environment with these rights. So I guess a couple of things. One, you got a singular and a plural in one sentence that's referred to in the next sentence by a plural. So you either have a right or rights. That makes it a little confusing. And the other part is a little more important. And I think the sentence implies that A is dependent on B, and that treaty rights are dependent on restoring and protecting. And that's definitely not correct. Like the treaty rights stand whether we restore or protect at all. So I changed the word. I'm going to bring my motion back up there.
I'll second this for discussion because I agree with the point.
Thanks, Fred. So my motion was just to change a little bit. So the first sentence would read, each person in Whatcom County has a fundamental right to healthful and safe environment in which to live and grow, period. With this right comes responsibility to the natural environment, which is the third sentence, just moved up to become the second sentence. And then the next sentence is, in addition, the Nooksack tribe and Lummi Nation have treaty rights that include taking fish and hunting and gathering at usual and custom grounds. And that's language that's right out of the Treaty of Point Elephant. The Treaty of Point Elliott. And so, I mean, maybe there's a better way to say those specific words about fish and hunting and gathering, but essentially, I think this is linguistically clearer and doesn't add the singular and plural followed by plural, and then also clarifies that treaty rights are not dependent on protecting land. Treaty rights stand independent of whether the land is protected or not.
Commissioner Brown.
Oh, sorry, I'll lower my hand.
Commissioner Hanson.
I'm totally in support of better grammar and having things more clearly stated. However, the issue about the necessity for the preservation, protection, and restoration of habitat is actually part of their treaty right as recognized in what's known as the Bolt 2 decision, which basically says, yes, they have a right to harvest their fish, but if there ain't no fish, there ain't no right, and the state and federal government have a responsibility to take actions so that those fish stocks are restored so they can harvest them. And so that's what that one phrase was supposed to be getting towards, but even though it wasn't clearly stated. So I don't mind rewording this, but I think that we should leave the part about the habitat in there because it is part of their treaty right. And that's why the county state has spent billions of dollars replacing culverts is because of the Bolt 2 decision.
Okay, Commissioner Brown.
I'm not, I've read the treaty. I know it's not in the treaty. And I'm somewhat familiar with the Bolt decision. I'm not aware of anything that matches what you just said, Jim. I know that the Bolt decision entitled them to half the harvest.
Bolt 2, it was about maybe 10 years, maybe 6 to 10 years later than the Bolt decision.
So you're calling that Bolt 2?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Come on, Mark, aren't you? You're familiar with that, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none.
Yeah, oh, sorry, yeah, Kelvin, this is Dan. Yeah, I mean, I think,
Go ahead.
I mean, the things that are in law are pretty clear. Bold decision stands. I mean, that's all. Nobody's arguing that. I think it's more just, to me, it's the linguistic aspect of the treaty rights. Like the sentence as you could read it as that their treaty rights are dependent on this thing. But protecting and restoring is part of it. Definitely is part of it. But it's not like if you don't protect and restore, it's not that their treaty rights go away.
No. To fully observe the treaty rights, we have a responsibility to protect and restore. It's basically what that should be saying.
Right. Yeah.
That's what, so I don't, like I said, the wordsmithing is great, but I just don't want to delete an important factor, I guess, that somebody wanted to put in there.
Would you add something to my motion to make it more clear or better?
An easy way to do it as, I could say we could reference those decisions, but we'd have to have.
Talks about taking fish and hunting and
Yeah,
it all relates to the Bolt decision, 1 or 2.
right, it's, I mean, so-and-so versus, we want to cite those decisions legalistically rather than, if we can include them in there specifically, I think. So-and-so versus, I don't know what the legal citation is, but, let's see, how could we change this? Well, they said with these rights come the responsibility to the protection, conservation, blah, blah, blah. That probably, that takes care of it, right?
That's his motion.
I think so. Yeah. So moving that sentence to sentence number 2.
If you put the treaty rights up above there, back up above there, then that would include the treaty rights in the rights of all citizens.
So you'd have first sentence be each person in Whatcom County is fundamental right, healthful, safe environment. You'd suggest that second sentence is in addition, the Nooksack tribe and Lummi Nation have treaty rights. And the third sentence would be with these rights comes responsibility.
That would take care of it, yeah.
Interesting. Pretty good. Who would second that? Rudd, you seconded that? How do you feel about that change?
So I'm just reading the decision. So the first decision was.
There we go.
Okay, so the first decision was entitled to half the fish. The second decision was protection of hatcheries. And the third interpretation was the issue about culverts. Right. So I don't actually think the original language reflects what the law is. There is no, the treaty rights said you can have the fish. The treaty rights says your hatcheries are protected. And the subsequent interpretation by the Supreme Court in Washington was you had to remove culverts in order to allow fish passage. But it doesn't go beyond that.
That's a third decision. Well, I think
we're doing all that.
Dan,
Yeah.
Commissioner Dan,
You call me Dan, it's totally fine.
Lieutenant Dan, has figured things out. I think it doesn't tread on anybody's feet and it's pretty clear.
Are you okay with how it is, or do you wanna?
If you put the rights before the explanation of what the rights entail, then.
Yeah, okay. Why don't you wanna try that? Rudd, with that, you were the second on this one. Would it be all right with you if we switch the third sentence, to the second sentence, so it looks like each person in Whatcom County, in addition, the Nooksack tribe. And then the last sentence is with these rights comes responsibility.
Well, let's do this. Do what you want, and then I'll tell you at the end product whether it works for me. But
I think this is the one we're looking at. Each person.
Yeah, that's on this.
Addition, Nooksack tribe, treaty rights for
Yeah.
With these rights come responsibility. I'm pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah, that's fine. I have no issue.
Then this is my motion.
And Mark Personius, I didn't not quite hear what you said, but I really would like to hear you weigh in on this.
Yeah, that's fine. That language is fine with us, yeah.
Okay. All right, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Greif,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Wasseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
passes.
All right, my next one is in the introduction to remove the new language that says diminish the functions and values of existing and critical areas and allow for mitigated development, foster voluntary actions of proactive restoration of ecological function and net ecological gain. And just keep the old language, which was to essential to the establishment of safe development practices and patterns that do not significantly disrupt ecosystems and that ensure continuation of ample amounts of clean water. So essentially it's the net ecological gain part. And I think this is, it was what Kaya brought up earlier. And I think this is a theme throughout this document, which is a shift from mitigating the harm. And so you offset, kind of balance what you're doing to creating a better, like creating more, enhancing or whatever. And I guess to me, I think it's pretty clear the GMA says you gotta mitigate. And if you cause a harm, you gotta make sure that you're balanced out with that one. I don't think it says that you need to enhance things. And my concern with enhancing things goes directly to housing, where when you're enhancing something, that means that maybe you have a house and you want to build an ADU, but it's on untouched ground. So now you need to, either you just can't because you can't enhance that, or you gotta offset that somewhere to make it even better. I'm just unclear as to how, does it mean that we have more wet limitation? Instead of 20 square feet, now you're doing 40 square feet? I hesitant to start saying, putting a lot more work in terms of someone who's building a house or building an industry or whatever, now you need to make it a lot better. So sorry, long-winded, but my motion in that area was just to revert it to that original language. Yeah.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Hanson?
Again, I'm not so sure about the way the language is strung together, but I do know that the concept of net ecological gain is one that was put in the council's resolution for amending the comp plan. And it was cited by Ms. Hayes earlier. And what we found is that doing mitigations to a standard of no net loss has resulted in guaranteed net loss over time. So the only way to reverse that slippage is to require net gain, so that given the vagaries of how these things are actually done, we will perhaps be lucky enough to get to no net loss. So I think it's council wanted that in there. It might not be worded perfectly, but I don't think we should take that concept out of there.
Commissioner Brown?
So this is a sort of an area I have a lot of interest in, and I agree with Jim in that we should be seeking a net ecological gain. And I'm actually working on development projects at the moment that are intended to provide a net ecological gain. That being said, the state law only says you have to avoid no net loss. And the problem is, in trying to get net ecological gain, is to how do you pay for that? And there really is a lack in the county code for any incentives for a person to exceed no net loss. And there should be incentives in the form of whether it be flexibility and say, impacting, if you impact a buffer on this place and you take away 1,000 feet, is that okay if you're increasing buffer enhancement by 2,000 feet somewhere else, right? There's, is there an increase in density if you do certain things? Is there, one of my frustrations is you have to build to a minimum of 1 acre per lot if you have no fire flow. But even if you want to reduce the size of that impact to say 0.5 acre, there is no code mechanism for doing it. So I'd love to encourage net ecological gain, but the whole code is not built to support that.
Right. Any other comments?
Calvin, this is Dan. I got a question or comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just looking about what the county council said, and the one reference I found is in resolution 2022-036, which is titled Establishing Priorities for Whatcom County 2025 Comp Plan. And I just searched this up, so I might be looking at the wrong thing or whatever. It has one reference to it when I search that document, and the reference is regarding the land use chapter, and it says, work with the state to evaluate a framework and strategy for achieving net ecological gain of salmon and public projects and a voluntary incentive driven framework and strategy for private projects. So it says, work with the state to evaluate, to do, and it's specifically for salmon and public projects, not for private projects, and a voluntary incentive driven framework and strategy for private projects. I think like what Red said about like, there's no real like way of doing this right now or way of funding that. I think the county council understood that, and that's probably why they wrote that language. But if there's other things the county council wrote that I'm missing or different ordinance resolution, let me know.
Well, the voluntary action, foster voluntary action seems in line with what you read.
Right. Is there any other? Yes. Go ahead, Commissioner Brown, and Mark, did I see you waving your hand there?
Commissioner Mosseri.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
I'll yield to Dominic.
My turn? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think in that resolution, it specifically mentioned the land use chapter.
This one, yeah, it says land use chapter.
Yeah.
And since media under that is.
Yeah, I just think that speaks to what, that initial motion that was to get rid of this. I understand there wasn't a lot of appetite for that, but I don't think we need to just keep enlarging this one. I think it is a better point that these things should be spread out in the chapters where they're actually addressing those things instead of being just more and more verbiage piled into these throughout this chapter that, you go here to read about the other thing and then you go read about it again in the other thing. It just seems totally unnecessary.
And just a little statement, your screen on here on my computer, and I'm just saying this because it's this way with everybody, but Commissioner Mosseri, I can't see any of your more or less most of your right shoulder and all of your right arm are gone. So if you raise that hand, I can't see it. Just wanted to let you guys know. Yeah, that will help. Commissioner Brown, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Director Pisonius had a comment here. I think I know it was Mark, that the county's only required that the impacts be done based on no net loss. I'd prefer to leave the language as it was, not play around with this, and work more actively on finding ways to incentivize net ecological gain in the code.
Okay. Any other commissioner comments? Any other commissioner comments? Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Could we just clarify what we're voting on, please?
To remove the additional language that diminish the functions and then revert back to the original, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it would take the new language out and then.
Can everybody see that fine?
Yep.
Yep. Sort of.
Okay. All right. Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Hanson,
No.
Mosseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Greif,
Yes.
Barton.
Yes.
It passes.
Great. My next motion is on page 10-1 under purpose. And it's to remove the word and restoring. Try to see where I.
First paragraph. 2/3 down, 3/4 down.
Yeah, start with the challenge of protecting.
Oh, there we go. Perfect, yep. Challenge of protecting and restore, yeah, same theme, I think, on the earlier one. The word restoring is similar to me as enhancing. I think the original language is good. So that's my motion. Do you want to pull my motion up there?
Where's it answer?
Oh, I'm sorry. Our previous motion was, I think, or previously we talked about the word enhancing. But in this motion, it's just about removing the word restoring. So it'd be the challenge, the new language would be the challenge of protecting this environment while accommodating growth requires maintaining guidelines.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Any discussion?
Nobody else?
And I'm seeing no hands up. Just
Jim
Over
got one.
here, over here, wrong hand. I'm left-handed. You got this.
there we are. Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Hanson.
I think it's in line with a lot of things we want to see done is restoration, and it's as we try to protect things, that's good, but we're at a point where we're past the tipping point with habitat degradation, climate change, etc. Water problems. We're beyond the tipping point of just keeping things the way they are in terms of quality and quantity of habitat. So to get where we want to be, we need to restore those attributes. And if we just stay where we are, we'll continue to lose all the benefits of the environment that we depend on. So restoring is an important concept.
Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, Jim, I agree with you. The problem with all this stuff is the burden for restoration doesn't fall on those who are asking for it in terms of people. It basically boils down to people with houses are asking people without houses to do the restoration. And that's what's really frustrating. So there needs to be, I'm fully supportive of the restoration, but the burden of the cost of doing that needs to be more fairly distributed.
Okay, I'm not seeing any more hands. Oh, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mosseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Greif,
Yes.
Hanson,
No.
Barton,
Yes.
passes.
My next motion is on page 10-2, under GMA requirements, and this is just more of a kind of a linguistic thing as well. Basically, it's if you say what the GMA says, you should say what the GMA says. The existing language says the GMA requires Whatcom County to identify and manage critical areas, or protect functions, whatever. And what the GMA actually says in RCW 36.70A.172 is more in line with in designating and protecting critical areas under this chapter. RCW 36.78.172 requires that counties and cities shall include the best available science in developing policies and development regulations to protect the functions and values of critical areas. In addition, counties and cities shall give special consideration to conservation and protection measures necessary to preserve, enhance, and anadromous fisheries. It doesn't, I don't think it really changes the intention or anything like that. It's just a little more specific as to exactly what the RCW says. That is my motion.
What page is that on?
10-2. About the middle of the page.
No, what's, oh, that's the page number, is it? Oh, okay.
So that first sentence completely goes away and your sentence replaces it.
I lost his sentence. Let's see.
Yes, that first sentence started with the GMA and ending with
GMA in designating.
okay.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Dominic. Kelvin, Jim's got a question?
Go ahead,
guess
Commissioner Hanson.
Comment, and I'm not that the specific RCW that Commissioner Dunn quoted apparently does have to do with androgynous fisheries. However, I believe that the Growth Management Act requires protection of various ecological functions, including groundwater recharge, wildlife, and many other values in addition to androgynous fish. And the way this is phrased in the proposed draft, it's more global and could encompass more economic and environmental ecological values and processes than just androgynous fish. So I think it would be better just left the way it is.
So, Commissioner Hanson, I have a question for you. You're reading it, and I appreciated you did that. It almost seems like there are the part that's lined out is talking about one thing, and the new part is like not exactly, but kind of like a different topic. Do you see it that way?
That's why I made that comment. I thought that the way it is now is less specific to just fish and addresses other important environmental or ecological functions that the GMA seeks to protect.
I'm gonna kind of answer that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so in the comp plan as written, it's talking specifically about critical areas. So the first sentence is the GMA requires Whatcom County to identify and manage critical areas, and then it says by doing these kind of things. So I just went to the area of the RCWs that deal with critical areas, and it is that 36.78.172, and the title of that is critical areas, designation and protection, best available science to be used. So like the thing that we're talking about in the comp plan here about critical areas is this thing that's in the RCW, but it's slightly different, but it's more specific. I guess to use the RCW language.
Well, RCW isn't cited here.
Yeah, in my motion it is.
I know, that's what I need.
Yeah. But so I found the RCW that they're talking about when they, because whenever it says the GMA requires, I'm like, oh, really? Show me where, give me the language. And so this is the language. So the language in here is a little bit like squishy, and that's not actually technically what the GMA requires. What the GMA actually requires is the language in my motion.
That's a good point. Okay.
Commissioner
I don't
Hanson,
want
go
to
ahead.
dialogue, just that it's an introduction to those bullet points. And so you're taking out reference to anything but one bullet point, that's all.
Oh, well, all those bullet points are critical areas.
Yeah.
And my motion references specifically critical areas.
Those bullet points stay in there.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah.
So, the first sentence changes.
I got it.
Yep, second sentence is gone, third sentence.
Yep.
Stays the same. Yep.
And that's fine, that is the actual statutory language, so that is more specific.
Okay, good.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
In addition, I see that, yeah, okay. I'll vote for it.
Any additions or comments? All right, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown. Brown,
Wake up.
Dunn,
Yes.
Gripe,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Mosseri,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
pass.
My next question is one of, I'm just not sure about this one, so it's on page 10-3. The language is, let's see where here, it's about fish. And so the old language was many of our lakes, rivers, and streams, and the new language is all of our lakes, rivers, and streams. This is kind of the bottom paragraph. And it's just about, so the sentence is, the original word was many of our lakes, rivers, and streams support fish, including but not limited to a bunch of fish. And the new sentence is all of our lakes, rivers, and streams. So maybe it's more a question for staff. Do you know if it's like literally every single stream, everything in the entire county supports fish? Or is it that all of them do?
I would imagine this change was made by the salmon recovery staff team. Thinking primarily about. Certainly all the lakes have fish, the river has fish. I don't know that all streams have fish, streams that don't have water don't have fish. And I think that's probably their emphasis was if they had water, they could be viable for fish, so. Yeah, that's much like a people here.
Gotta wave.
Right in front of your face like this.
Commissioner Mosseri has a question or comment?
Yes, Commissioner Masseri, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally a classification for streams that don't have fish.
Yep.
So, you know, an MP stream means that it doesn't. Some of them could have it because some of it's because of, you know, could be blockage of a culvert or something that the fish can't get to, but there's also some that just aren't connected to something, or it never would be able to because of their topography. So I think that it's a mistake to change this to all. Just seems inaccurate, even if I think many's fine, and especially if ones are classified that don't. And some never could, again, even if they do have an obstruction, that maybe is irreversible.
We'll never get a salmon to jump up.
Jim's got a comment.
I was trying to mute.
Commissioner Hanson has a comment?
They're muting me. Oh, yeah, I think that the wording there is a little bit unfortunately vague. The word support doesn't necessarily include that they're fish bearing. And there's an issue right now with the board of the DNR about ephemeral streams or streams that have water in them part of the year on forested lands, whether they should get riparian protection or not, because of the contributions that they make to streams that have fish in them during periods in which it rains. So I think the intent was to indicate that these streams support the fish in other streams downstream beyond barriers and fully rather than intermittent streams, what have you. I don't think it matters too much what we say, but I believe that was the intent. I come from sort of a fisheries background here.
Commissioner Masseri.
Yeah, and I could see that being the intent, but it's gonna lead to the same consequences that the DNR is going to, that it is increasing the buffers on those NP streams. And then this also could then have the same effect because the buffers are different on fish bearing or non-fish bearing streams for setbacks. So it potentially would have that same impact. So maybe that's not an impact people want, but I don't think it's unconsequential.
Well, then my question's been answered. I'll go ahead and make a motion then, and see what we think. So my motion is on page 10.3, in that sentence, to revert to the original language, of using the word many. So instead of, the new language is all of our lakes, and I'd like to go back. My motion is to keep the original language, which is many of our lakes, rivers.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Makes sense.
Seeing none, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Hanson,
No.
Masseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Greif,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
passes.
My next motion, and obviously jump in if somebody else wants to make some motions here, but I'll just run through the list of, is page 10-6, policy 10A-3. It uses the word enhance. And I kind of started this off as a question, but I think I'm gonna just change it into a motion. So my question was, do we want to be enhancing or do we want to be complying with GMA and protecting? And to me, I think I'm using with the protecting. So my motion is on page 10-6, policy 10A-3, to revert to the original language, which was continue to identify, designate, and protect critical areas and other important environmental features.
And Commissioner Dunn, I'm sorry, I missed, did you put that in the form of a motion?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Did you get that?
Do anybody second this? Okay. Commissioner Dunn, then why don't we go ahead and move along to your next one, seeing there's no second.
Sounds great. Let's see, next one is on page 10-6. The WSC 15 comment and PDS's response, and this is more of a question, I think, maybe for Mark. WST's comment was, they recommend replacing this clause with another sentence, incorporating environmental goals for existing plans. And PDS response was, the goals of these plans are already adopted by council. PDS doesn't think we need to list them all here, and we'll incorporate by reference. So I guess my question is just, when we have outside plans, how do we incorporate in this document?
Good question. So I introduced this element by saying a lot of the changes were from the watershed management planning process and the parties, which are the tribes, the cities, the county, and the PUB, and Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife, who are the co-managers with the tribes of the state. They're the salmon managers. So the goal was to integrate there's a salmon recovery plan, there's a 5-year watershed management plan, there's all sorts of things that go on through that group. And they basically pursue funding to do restoration project. That's where a lot of the net ecological gain sort of concept comes from. Because it's voluntary, right? It's not a regulatory requirement. They're getting funding to do salmon habitat enhancement. And so one of the things they wanted to do to really strengthen that was to put all of those, have the comp plan adopt those plans by reference. When you do that, then they become part of the comp plan. And every time you change that plan, you gotta change the comp plan. It becomes this procedurally just really cumbersome thing. And so that's what our comment is, like, let's integrate and not adopt by reference, right? And so your question is, well, how, if we do that, then how do we make sure that those two different planning, planning programs, done by different entities, the GMA is one thing, and salmon recovery and watershed management is another thing, done by different folks, how do we keep those integrated? That's a great question. We do it here by integrating the goals of those plans into here without adopting them by reference. And then it's on us to make sure that any updates to that watershed management plan are still consistent with our comp plan policies and vice versa. So does that?
It does, yeah,
Yeah.
I understand, okay. So in this particular thing here, what would be your preference with this language? So on page 10-6.
Is that 10A2?
10A-2,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, our recommendation is to leave that language the way it is, and not adopt what the watershed staff team was recommending.
Great.
Okay.
My next motion is on page 10-12. And it is, says background summary. It says natural hazards include the following: map 10-4. There wasn't a map 10-4 unless I missed it somewhere. Maybe it's in the back.
Map 10-4 is the natural hazards map. It's the very last map on the attachment.
Perfect. Break done. Then no motion there.
There it is, 10-4.
My next motion is on.
If you're gonna leave that page, can I?
Oh,
point
yeah.
out a typo? Or a
And-
question?
And Commissioner Masseri, go ahead.
Yeah, if you go down to the last paragraph, the second sentence, it says examples of landslide types may, and then I think everything's crossed out until rockfall. So I think somehow we lost an include or something.
Also may present rockfall and rock avalanche. Did they crossed out present or present? Sorry.
I should say include.
I think it should say include or something,
Yeah,
and I
it
think
should.
we did,
Including.
Yeah.
including, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
May include.
But yeah, it was may include
or including, one of the two, yeah.
examples of landslide types may include
May
rockfall
include.
and.
Yep, you're right.
I like may include. Do we need to do a motion for that?
No,
Or
is
can you-
everybody okay with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can just take
Okay,
it.
we'll go ahead and put that in and by acclamation.
Right.
My next motion is on page 10-15, but if anybody else has motions in the meantime for your. You can, on page 10-15, wildland fire hazards. There's a thing he said, an image. Where is that?
Oh, yeah.
It's on it's the second sentence of the last paragraph.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep, and even, yeah, yeah, so in the last paragraph, yep, like Dominic said, the second sentence, the last paragraph. Yeah, just delete that sentence, an image of the wildland fire, unless we do wanna put an image in there. I'm assuming somebody like copy and pasted this from some other
Yeah.
document.
Yeah.
Eileen, you got that?
Where is it?
An image can be seen to the left. Sorry.
I think at the bottom of that page.
So no motion, just general consensus.
Go back up. Right, wildland fire hazards. Put that right in that.
Right
paragraph.
there.
And
And image.
wildland, yeah, there you go, just delete that.
This whole thing.
Yep. Need more pictures. Good.
And then this is sort of a broad thing. So this entire section, and this is going back to my like, there's a lot of like words in the introductions. I don't think we need all the words, but essentially everything from page 10, 12 through 10, let's see. Yeah, page 10, 12, 10, 16 are repeated on page 10, 16, 10, 18. So like all those topics, earthquake hazard, volcanic hazards, like flood hazards, and then they're the same. Like they say the same thing.
And I put 10, 12?
So yes, if you go on page 10, 12, you start there.
Yeah. Yeah, 10, 12, I noticed the same thing. From 10, 12, it lists every natural hazard
Yeah,
until you get to issues and goals. And then in issues and goals, it just relists them all again before it actually gets to that, the actual goals and policies. The only thing that it might have added was a couple of those gas wells and mines,
yeah, they're right.
oil landfills, balance management. I think all the other ones were literally just like smaller paragraphs of the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
Just cleans it up a little bit is what we're looking to do.
so is the first time it's stated more descriptive than the second time, or which is more,
Seems like the first time has bigger paragraphs than the second
I
time,
think so.
yeah,
okay,
because it's like 4 pages versus 2 pages.
Yeah.
can I ask that you ask us
Ask, yes, you
to
have.
do that without,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
There may be some things that are different and I don't wanna,
And I think there is a little
Yeah.
bit, there's like
Yeah,
mines and gas
yeah.
wells and landfill, but there's
Okay.
a lot of it is.
so you will combine the two so that there's no
Yes.
redundancy.
Yes.
Do you want me to make a motion for that? Or-
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so I'll make a motion that staff combines the duplicated subjects on page 10, 12 through page 10, 10, 18. So that's the whole shebang there.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
1 moment.
Acclamation.
Mosseri,
yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes,
Greif,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes,
Barton,
Yes.
passes.
on my next motion is on page 10, 19.
good. Where we go?
And it is policy 10E-4. And it's that last sentence there. Currently it reads, incorporate future climate scenarios into evaluation of hazards. And I would like that to read, my motion is to include the phrase best available science. So that the new sentence there would read, incorporate future climate scenarios using best available science into evaluation of hazard. I think there's a lot of different ideas as to what the climate would be like in the future. And I think there's some science out there that people are generally agreed on. So I'd say instead of just kind of having my idea versus somebody else's idea, let's use the best available science if we're gonna try and make predictions in order to use that for climate stuff.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and I think I heard a second.
Yeah, Mark seconded it.
All right, is there any discussion? Seeing
All right,
none,
could we?
Oh,
so
go
could we
ahead,
just put it on the
Commissioner
screen?
Brown.
Yeah, could we just put it on the screen?
more screens.
Yes.
He's screen deprived.
No pressure, Eileen.
Sorry, I got kicked out real quick. No wonder why y'all aren't seeing anything.
We're seeing a rogues gallery up there. Scary.
So I'm going to interrupt here just for a minute. This is just for a point of information. When we screen share or when we don't screen share, the pictures on the screen are about 1.5 by 1.5 and it's real easy to see everybody. When we screen share, they're about half the size of a postage stamp. So that sometimes when we're screen sharing, it can be hard to see your hands, and that's what has happened earlier that Commissioner Masseri mentioned.
We figured.
We'll just yell at you if we need to.
You gonna throw something at me through the computer screen?
So. There it is. Oh. There we go.
It's the one down below. It's the
10E.
new 10, yeah,
Right.
just that last sentence. It's in red.
All right, and we have a motion in a second?
Yes.
Okay, is there any discussion? Seeing none, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Brown. Dunn,
Yes.
Greif,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Masseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
It helps when I turn the mic on, I'm sorry. Yes,
Barton,
Yes.
passes.
It's a bugger. You got a cold, you can't think, you can't.
My next motion is on page 19, policy 10E-9. And there's a little bit of confusion about the numbering here. This is the, I believe this is the new, the 9 that's in red.
The 9 that was
New
10.
nine.
The 9 that was 10, yeah.
Okay.
Require applicants to develop permits located in natural hazard areas, provide development plans, that prioritize preventing and avoiding impacts to, oh yeah, so I wanted to just change that slightly, instead of impacts natural systems, like we're talking about natural hazards here. So I just say the sentence would read that prioritize preventing and avoiding impacts, it should at least read from natural hazards and where not possible. So I would change my motion slightly.
Okay.
To use the word from instead of to. So that sentence would read, require applicants for development permits located in natural hazard areas, provide development plans that prioritize preventing and avoiding impacts from natural hazards, and where not possible, designed to minimize the potential to exacerbate phenomena.
So it would replace impacts to natural systems.
Right, yeah, it just linguistically made more sense to me because we're talking about natural hazards, not natural systems.
Where impacts would stay.
Yeah, avoiding impacts, yep, from natural hazards. Those three
Instead of
words.
to natural systems.
Yeah, it's from natural,
natural
yep.
hazards.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Oh, Commissioner Greif, go ahead.
Get somebody else, I think.
I'm showing your hand up on your screen, Commissioner Greif.
Oh, doesn't say it on mine, but yeah, no comments.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Hanson.
Okay. Well, I kind of see this as a perhaps better the way it is, because while we want to take steps to protect the public from natural hazards, we also don't want them to erect edifices or processes that destroy natural processes. So for instance, if you live near a river, you don't necessarily have a right to build a dike. Or if you live near a forested area, you might not necessarily have a right to do a bunch of land clearing without it being permitted. So I think that we need to protect people and we need to protect natural processes as well. So I think the way this is written tends to address both of those concerns.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
I got a quick comment for that.
Sure. Go
I'll
ahead.
wave my hand for my face there so you can see it. Yeah, I agree that the purpose of the whole chapter is more about natural systems. I think this one, if you look at the policies that come before it, like pretty much every policy uses the word natural hazard in it. And so I think it's pretty clear we're talking about specifically natural hazards in these policies. So I just changed that to just clarify, like in this goal and these policies, that's kind of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, just say it several places.
Okay, are there any other comments or questions? Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Dunn,
Yes.
Greif,
No.
Hanson,
No,
Osari,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
passes.
Let's see, my next one is just a comment about a comment. There's a, page 1021. PU, is that, who's PU?
The planning unit.
Planning unit. Yeah. Had a comment to require, that all construction forest areas comply with National Fire Protection Association and have a wildfire safety surcharge. And I commented that is that the state is working on, wildland urban interface, WUI regulations. They tried to pass it last year, a couple years ago, got a little crazy, so they didn't enforce it. And I think they're working on it again this year. So I just suggested when we look at the wildland, like urban interface, that we just kind of let the state play that out for a little bit and see what they come up with. And then, probably adopt that stuff. So not really a motion there, just a comment.
And I would just respond that I think we will, the DNR is working on updating the map, the WUI map, to make it better. The resolution of it wasn't really useful to local governments to implement when it first came out. So they're working on that and probably have that done maybe next year. I think next summer, I think was their goal. But we'll just see how that plays out, so, and I think we are gonna put a policy in the land use element, chapter 2. That will just basically say that we'll implement whatever gets adopted ultimately.
Commissioner Masseri.
Yeah, but the intent was to let us know that somebody had requested this. There's not like they're working on a text and we just haven't seen it yet. You're not intending to put that in this spot here right now.
Correct. We just wanted to acknowledge that comment was there, so.
My next motion is on skipping way ahead to page 1041.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Oh, no, sorry, I gotta find on my little thing here.
Okay,
Just so I can remember what I wrote. 41, page 1041, policy 10F-5. All right. And okay, so I got a few goals that have the same theme here. I was kind of reading through all the water stuff and realized like it focuses pretty heavily on like protecting water and species and things like that, which is great, but it really totally leaves out anything about housing. And I think one of the big changes with this comp plan cycle is that the state requires us to provide in some form housing for people based on income classes and different things like that. So I had a few motions here that kind of just throw the same words in there. I just wanted to see what people think, whether supported or not. So in policy 1041, I'm sorry, page 1041, policy 10F-5, at the very end of that sentence, so it's a long sentence, a couple sentences, whatever. At the very end, it aligns with environmental policies aligned with regional water conservation goals. And I would say, well, supporting the construction of new housing throughout the county. Or some variation of language that says like, hey, well, we do all these things, we have all these goals, and we also need to make sure our goals balance with building new housing.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And I'll wait. I see people are reading it, so I'll hold on just a minute or two.
And so to me, it doesn't change the intention of that sentence or what we're supporting with that policy. It just adds like, let's balance it out with housing. Gotta put it in front of your face. Gotta wave it.
Yeah.
Wave it from your face.
Go ahead, Commissioner Van Dalen.
One finger.
I was speaking for Jim, sorry.
Okay.
Well, my hand won't, they won't put
Gotta-
my hand on the screen.
There you go.
Oh,
Well,
where's
wait,
the
you're left.
camera over there?
Yeah.
go.
Well, so Commissioner
Well-
Hanson, your left arm is, or sorry, your right arm is missing right now on the screen.
A lot of stuff missing, yeah. Well, when at the beginning it says multiple in-stream and out-of-stream beneficial uses, that would include supporting the construction of housing. So I think it's rhetorically redundant to keep putting this dangling participle here and there throughout these chapters. I'm pretty sure in the housing chapter, we want to talk about water resources for new housing. But since it's already addressed as in-stream and out-of-stream beneficial uses, I think it's just unnecessary to insert that one specific use. And also, I think throughout the county implies that we want to have housing construction throughout the county, whereas the purpose of our comprehensive plan is to try to direct where the housing is going to be developed, not comprehensively throughout the county. So there's two reasons I don't think that should be in there.
Jim, would you support this motion with slightly different wording, or do you kind of just a hard no on the motion?
You know, honestly, I don't think anyone's gonna read this document anyway, but it's not gonna matter what we say here. To me, the only thing that matters is chapter two, when you get down to it, because it makes hard rules for people. But I just
get rid of it.
feel like that rhetoric isn't necessary. I think it's been established that housing is an important beneficial use for water, and it's just kind of like the housing. I don't even believe that the new rules from the state about housing mean anything anyway. It says that we need to provide through planning for the construction of new housing for multiple income stratum. but it doesn't mean that that somehow the county's gonna do it. So I think that's somewhat vague too. I think that it's up to it being beneficial for free enterprise to provide low-income housing, and I think the county and the city and nonprofits can help. But I don't think that anything we say in the comp plan in that regard is going to raise our taxes. That's all. But yeah.
Hey, are there any other comments? Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Greg,
Yes.
Hanson,
No.
Mosseri,
No.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Barton,
Yeah.
passes.
So my next motion is on page 1045. Yeah. And it's a similar, similar wording there. Let's see, 1045, policy 10H-10. In the policy, but this policy is about critical areas regulations. Continue to administer the critical area regulations and incentives to achieve no net loss of ecological functions, which I appreciate. As opposed to the phrase a net gain. So to achieve no net loss of ecological functions and values regulated wetlands, fish, and restoration efforts and proactive enhancements. We prioritize support water quality improvements, habitat connectivity, and resilience against climate impacts. Adding to that, while supporting the construction of new housing throughout Whatcom County. That is my motion.
Can you put that back up on the screen there, Eileen, just for a moment? Just wondering if everybody got a chance to read it. Everybody get to read it okay? Just kind of give a nod if you're done with it. Okay, go ahead and continue on, Eileen. You are moving over to a different page.
I'm just waiting for a second.
Thank you. I missed that. Okay, we have a motion, but seeing that there's no second, let's go ahead and move on.
Great. My next one is a similar thing, page 1044. Oh, that's back up one page. Anyways, a similar motion with the same words. I guess considering you get a second from the previous one, I think I'll just pull this one. We'll just leave it. Okay, my next motion after that is on page 1047. And this is goal 10H. I'm sorry, my mistake. Page 1047, policy 10I5. It's up there at the top. And the policy is to encourage water users and purveyors to quantify water use and make the data publicly available to promote conservation. And I just think that's just kind of a bad idea in general. I feel like people's use of utilities is, I don't know, I just feel like that's kind of a thing that people use. I don't really want, like, I don't think anybody has anything to hide with their utility bills, but I don't think there's a reason that we should all know how much sewer, water, or electricity everybody else is using. It just seems, I don't know, just seemed odd. So I would, my motion is to strike this policy.
Second.
Oh, boy.
Commissioner Brown.
Does this disclose? I'm not sure this is water. Well, water purveyors
Users and.
That's water users and purveyors. So I'm a user, you're a user, yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd run into privacy issues on disclosing private users' data anyway. I've just had a huge fight with PSC to get the electricity bills from my own building.
Imagine that.
Because because there was a tenant in there in between who
Yeah.
gave me written permission, right? So
What do you say, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
so I guess I'm speaking in favor of this.
Commissioner Gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know on the privacy rules or not in Washington State. I'm sure, Commissioner Brown's interaction with the PSC is more related to probably their notification rules potentially, or their notice rules that they have. I know in California, and in Los Angeles in particular, when I used to work for that city, we used to publish the top like 20 most significant water users in the district, and they were fined, and it was like a public name and shame. So there is certainly precedent for doing that. Whether or not that's something we'd want to do here, I don't know that we would, but I do think this is certainly interesting because from a sunshine law point of view, I generally do favor public data and public access unless there is a clear and present danger or risk to divulging it. So yeah, this is a tricky one.
Commissioner Brown.
Yield.
That was Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, the hand on this hand there.
Commissioner Hanson?
Go ahead, Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, I think there's some background on where this is coming from, and I think it has to do with agricultural use more than water associations. Because one of the stumbling blocks in coming to some sort of settlement around the in-stream and groundwater resources in Whatcom County and figuring who has a right to how much is that many of those who are withdrawing large amounts from either the river or the wells do not have gauges. And so there's no data to know how much they're using. And there's a big resistance among certain elements of the farm community to have their uses metered. So this is undoubtedly coming from the WIRA 1 people as an encouragement that we develop a way of metering large water users so we can get a handle on where the water's going. It's kind of hard to do adjudication when you don't have a clue who's using what. I mean, I've got an exempt well, I'm using 500 gallons, like that's nothing. I live in town and I'm using 200 gallons a day. That's not the issue. It's these unrecorded withdrawals that's the issue.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, and you see in the comment bubble that it is the policy was recommended by the planning unit. As Commissioner Hanson noted, it's primarily a push for requiring metering in the future, so that we just know how much water is being used. It's educated guesses right now, but we don't know that information, and so there's a lot of movement towards. And you'll see other policies that do about conservation, especially on the agricultural side.
And Ag has representatives on the planning unit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Commissioner Van Dalen.
Yeah, I have problems with the whole water users thing as being a taxpayer and a well user, and I'm being sued by the Department of Ecology right now. The nice words are education and everything like that, but I got the notice and the paperwork and everything else, and it just gives you a bad feeling about the whole thing that you're being sued by your government. I don't know that, because that's how it is. That's how it is not a good feeling. And I just wanted to put that on the record as saying that's what I think. So that's why I support the motion.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Hanson,
No.
Wasseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Abstain.
Dunn,
Yes.
Greif,
No.
Barton.
Yeah.
It passes.
My next motion, I will skip. It's another one of the constructing new housing Dutch County ones. Motion after that is on page 1055. And this is policy 10K5, which is the last one on that page. And the new language is, new policy is to implement measures that go beyond mitigating negative impacts by actively restoring and enhancing water quality, habitat functions, and kind of goes on from there. The original language was provide measures to mitigate negative water quality and quantify impacts from both public and private alternatives, natural drainage. So my motion is to revert to the original language on policy 10K-5, page 10-55.
Second.
Okay, is there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Eileen, oh, go ahead.
I'm still trying to catch, I'm sorry, I was still taking notes on
Sure.
the last.
Oh, no
So-
problem, Commissioner Hanson. Thank you.
Change in brown or red up there?
It's gotta remove the red and revert back to the kind of
Okay.
blue or teal that's crossed out.
So I guess we're in discussion now, right?
Yes.
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 If no one else had their hand raised, wondering if
Go ahead.
staff could provide a little bit more background into what this is getting at or what's intended.
Eileen, is that, you hover over that, is that Public Works, Natural Resources?
This one,
The proposed change, the orange.
it's not saying who it is.
I think orange is. Well, it's Public Works, Natural Resources,
Or. Orange is Public Works.
It was,
Yeah.
Cliff Strong. To implement measures that go beyond.
yeah, that's just repeating the language.
Right.
Okay.
He's retired, right?
Yeah.
Well, there we go, we've got one. He's retired.
Commissioner Dunn, were you laughing or were you waving your hand along with the laugh?
I was laughing and just being a jerk, sorry.
Okay. That's not how you say that you want to speak.
I won't speak.
Yes, sir.
I would say that this is, to answer Commissioner Greif's question, this is similar to the policies, other policies that talked about restoration. And kind of going beyond mitigating impacts to what's required by laws to know net loss, and then voluntarily doing more, not requiring applicants or permit applicants to do that, because that's not legal, but voluntarily doing restoration work. And so, and that a lot of what the YRA 1 process is that's what they do, right? They get state, federal funding and local funding, and they do restoration work. That isn't, it's not required by law.
All right, Commissioner Masseri.
Yeah. when I read these, they don't say anything about, we're only gonna make you do what's required. And then, you know, you can voluntarily or incentivize and do that. I feel like this stuff gets in here, and then when we're updating codes, everyone goes back and points to this that says, no, that's a policy. We agreed we wanted that, right? And they don't hear that you said, well, that wasn't our intent. We were just saying it'd be nice if people would do that.
Right.
So that's my concern with this kind of language.
Yeah, and this kind of gets to Commissioner Brown's comments earlier, right? Where he said it would be good to have the code have incentives for private, like those private alterations, to have incentives for folks to go beyond what the minimum no net loss requirement is and do that. And that's something, you know, we can look at when we do the CAO update. But
Commissioner Hanson.
I just wonder if the motion could be changed to just say, support voluntary measures. And then leave it in there since it's not being taken as a regulatory step.
Instead of implement.
Yeah, just support voluntary measures.
So I'm thinking about that, and Commissioner Masseri, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's good to have the policy in there that says we'll make you mitigate those things. And then say, you know, so leave the first line text like the motion was to revert to, and then just put a line item after that says, and incentivize, enhancing or restoring or whatever, because that way we're covering what the actual requirement is by the GMA, and then suggesting that we would just like to support that.
So would your proposed change would be to keep the original language, provide measures to mitigate negative water quality, that language, so keep that language.
Yep.
And then with the next sentence, instead of implement measures, maybe put in something like support how about incentivize voluntary measures?
Yeah.
And I would defer to this.
Would you?
Okay.
Voluntary measures for restoring and enhancing.
that go beyond blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Okay.
And I would say incentivize.
Changes the whole meaning.
But yeah, it really does.
Support incentivizing measures. Is that what-
And
I think probably just-
I'm hearing what's being said, and I'm trying to support the comments, because I've heard some pretty wise comments from about 3 different commissioners. So I'm just taking a minute to make sure we get it worded out the way we would like. It sounds like there's a lot of people on the same page. So and I'm relying on you guys to get it straight.
Okay, so if we were to keep the original language, provide measures to mitigate, and then if we were to say, I like the phrase incentivize voluntary measures that go beyond. And the reason I like that is because it's saying that people, whether you're public or private, you know, you can opt into this thing, but it's going to be expensive and hard to do this thing. So somebody needs to incentivize. Maybe they give you something else. They give you more zoning. They give you I don't know. They give you money. They give you parking space. They give you pat on the back. I don't know what it is.
And that last sentence in that, you know, speaks solely to restoration efforts should focus on. That's telling the public that's what the county government and that's what YRO 1 is doing, right?
Yeah.
When they're doing restoration, this was why they're doing it, right? They're looking to get water back into the streams.
Yep.
During the low flow periods, right? And so they do that by reconnecting to the floodplain, to getting more water out of the tribs and things like that. More shade to lower temperature in the water, stuff like that. So,
Commissioner Brown.
Dan, I'm going to ask you something odd, and that is if you'd be willing to yield on this point, because I've got several issues that I think address most of what's in here. That being said, we'd still have to deal with this clause anyway.
Yeah, I hear you. I think we're pretty close on this language here. So I think I'd like to just kind of wrap this one up and see if we
Right.
can get a vote on this language. And then I'd be happy to turn it over, Rudd, if you got some things you wanna go over.
Well, the main thing I don't like about this is there's no exchange, right? So there should be, yes, we should incentivize voluntary measures, but we've got to be clear that it's not just an extra, the county putting its hand out and saying, put more money in this hand. You're going to get something back for it. You're going to get some flexibility in the code, and say buffers or density or whatever the case may be. Otherwise it won't happen, really. I mean, people can voluntarily plant more trees, for sure.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, and Rudd, I think, yeah, there definitely needs to be a give and take. And to me, that's why you make it a voluntary incentive, because that implies there's two equal partners in a deal, and they both need to give something the other person wants, and they gotta make a deal. And it's not just one person telling the other person what to do, whether it's buffers or additional, less, I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah, I agree.
Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, I'm not gonna obstruct this, but I kind of reason I like support is the county might not have to do anything. They might just have to write a letter of support to a grant that NC is submitting to a federal agency, and it doesn't cost the county anything to just vaguely support, where it's gonna cost the county something to incentivize. So that's why I like support better. But I certainly won't oppose this.
Commissioner Hanson, what were you thinking about? Was support in place of incentivize?
Yeah, that was my
Okay.
original proposal, and it's been replaced by incentivize, and I just wanted to show that there's a distinction that might be worthwhile in case anybody happened to agree with me.
Commissioner Moseri has his hand up.
Okay, Commissioner Masseri, and then
Would you
Commissioner
like-
Brown.
Would you like support and incentivize?
Well, oh, genius.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I can live with that. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say support and/or, but I like this and you guys are the ones putting this together.
You're doing a great job.
Good. Is that language we can all kind of live with, or at least the majority of us can live with?
And Commissioner Brown, you had your hand up for a bit.
No, I took it down, sorry.
Okay.
And Eileen, I've sent you my comments.
Brown, so,
Okay.
look for new.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
It's Moseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Greif,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
passes.
Rudd, did you have some motions you want to make?
Go ahead again, Commissioner Dunn. Ask that again.
I was just asking Rudd if he had some motions he wanted to make. I think he said earlier.
Yeah,
he had some ideas.
thanks. I've given them to Eileen. She can put them up on the screen if the chair agrees.
Yes, that would be fine. And while she's doing that, I wanted to explain something that I experienced. As some of you know, I had a career in municipal government, and I'm not a builder, but my spouse and I have done several remodels and several new builds. And in both my personal experience and my professional experience, sometimes even though something is redundant, when that item is not there, sometimes you will get let's say a government official that just doesn't see it the way maybe 95% of the rest of the population sees it. And so sometimes that redundancy, when we were talking about streams and things like that, and then we talked about supporting housing, and I think we removed that. But having been on the end of watching, I'll say, government officials interpret it the wrong way based on what is not there, sometimes I support the redundancy, and I just wanted to say that sometimes there's a good place for it. But continue on.
Okay.
Okay, so my first motion is on 10A4 is to change the language as shown on the screen.
And so back at the top.
Page 10-6. Boom. Very bottom.
Let's change.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Change.
figure
It
out
looks
what
the same to me, but just I'm trying to figure out
it
what
looks the same.
So the oh, sorry, actually. You know what? I'm not sure what I've changed, so you can just kill that one.
I think it's the same.
It's the same.
You know, of
Around.
all the things I've ever lost, that I miss my mind the most.
I'll second that one.
Want to move on to the next?
Yeah. So the next is a new policy, but it would replace and renumber A7. Oh, sorry, it wouldn't replace A7. A7 would be inserted and cause existing A7 to be renumbered.
So this is a new 10A7.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't delete the old 10A7. It just causes it. I just think it should be before the existing one.
We lost the A7. Like, we put it up there. So. Did this come out in an email now?
No, he just sent it.
Okay. We need more screens up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, have another screen and then have multiple windows going. That make a lot better. Watch 2 football games at once.
Could you move the Zoom?
I only wish.
Oh, yeah.
Can you put it on top? Is there a way to do that? Just, yeah.
Okay. New policy. I'm sure.
When you've read it, I'll move it and I'll explain it. If I get a second.
Okay.
Order to what?
I feel like we're missing the
Missing
last
a verb. Something.
In order to ensure clarity,
We're supposed to do what?
conditions or requirements that are not specifically defined. I feel like, yeah, so what the conditions that are not defined by these two things, what about them?
What do we do?
Yeah, what to do with them?
In order to.
Let's see.
Oh, hang on a sec, guys. What you're saying?
Shall be as defined.
Yeah. sorry, so strike the words and supported by. Right. And put a period after WCC.
Still be a comma or semicolon.
And it should be best available science shall mean that published. That. Right. Does that now? Do people understand what I'm saying?
I have no idea, Red. I'm lost here.
Oh, you and my wife. Okay.
What's that?
Why not? I mean, they know exactly what they're doing. Proved that the last 40 days.
So if you allow me, I'll explain what I'm trying to say, and maybe this does succeed. Right.
We need a
Commissioner
second.
Brown, go ahead and explain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of my frustrations in the permitting process has been to have best available science presented as a reason for something, but the best available science cannot be produced. And best available science for the sake of everybody, for the applicants, for citizens, for staff, best available science, I think needs to be clearly defined as that which has been published by either Washington State or the federal government, particularly when it comes to environmental issues. There's a lot of best available science, and we should stick to what is published by government authorities, as opposed to someone walking in and dropping something off at the counter and saying, you know, I'm a citizen scientist. I've been doing this for the last week. I think this is the best science. Not that I'm saying that's been used, but I just think we need to have a defined definition of it.
So Red, so you want to define the term best available science?
Where the sources are from, not best available science has a definition. The question is, where does that science come from? Right? Who gets to decide what is best available science? And I think that decision should be, if it's published by the Washington State, by a Washington State government department or the federal government, then we consider that best available science. And that doesn't mean that it couldn't be a scientific paper produced by somebody else and then accepted or put forward by one of those agencies as best available science. But it needs to have at least gone through that filter of either a state or federal government department.
I feel like there's like if Harvard published something, you'd be like, no, that's not good enough. The Washington State's gotta publish it.
Well, if we're going to make a decision on it, if it's going to govern land use, yeah, it should be something that's been approved by Washington State. Why not? Remember, it's published by Harvard, which means it's probably a PhD graduate's thesis. That's good, but it's not necessarily peer reviewed.
Well, it should be this.
Point of order, if no one wants to second this, then
Yeah,
we'll
Good
move
point.
on.
Good point.
Thanks, Tom.
So did I just hear a second?
No,
No,
Okay, and I was going to say, if there's no second, let's go ahead and go to the next one.
you see, I noticed that. Next.
Sorry.
Did I see Mr. Personius put his hand up?
No, sir.
Okay.
He didn't have a motion yet.
He was adjusting his glasses.
Yeah. Can I ask a clarifying question of Director Personius?
Yes, you may.
Mark, where does staff get best available science?
Yeah, it's a good question. There are WACs that define it, as you referenced. It's ultimately a local jurisdiction's decision about what they want to use as to constitute best available science. We do it with a bibliography. When we do the CAO updates, there's a big bibliography of science, and it references all the studies and that have been published and peer reviewed and all of that. But it changes, right? So models, for example, that are modeling storm surge and new floodplain models, right? That is always happening and will continue to change in the future. So it's not a static thing.
I could hope not.
Ecology and commerce, you do compendiums of those kinds of things that support, especially when it comes to, and what Rudd's talking about is really the science around buffers. So it evolves.
So this example might explain the motivation for this, because I and as far as I know, several other landowners have been told that they cannot graze cattle on pastoral wetlands in the wet season if there is wetlands that are not hydraulically connected to riparian streams. In other words, there's no argument about cattle grazing in a buffer next to a stream during the wintertime. That's clearly not a good idea. But when you have a depressional wetland in a pasture, the rule now, apparently in the last 3 years, has been you can't graze in that wetland and you can't graze in that buffer either during the wet season. And the citation has been that's best available science. And in the county code, best available science is defined for that sort of activity is defined by the NRCS rules. And I've talked to the NRCS, and they say there are absolutely no rules that support that. In fact, they're concerned about it because it's now going to, if it's enacted, it's going to severely curtail cattle operations in the winter. Because where do you put the cattle? If you can't put them on a pasture that's got some depressional wetlands, right? So the point is that the argument has been that's best available science, but no one can produce the best available science. And yet the rules are imposed based on best available science.
Yeah.
Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that these rules are apparently not based upon best available science and should be challenged on the basis of best available science. And that's a separate process than what we're doing now, but I certainly empathize with what you're talking about, because it seems like somebody's screwing something up. But we need to move on to more of these amendments.
Well, the reason I bring this up is because several of my amendments are on the same thing. I don't disagree with you, Jim. It's just that there doesn't seem to be a mechanism inside the code to require the definition of what best available science, frankly, can be what someone thinks it is. And there's real no mechanism. It's very hard to argue it.
And there are people who think the world's flat. Doesn't mean it's right.
No, but
Rug, look at your next motion there.
yeah.
And I just want to ask Mr. Personius, what do you do? What does the county accept for best available science?
Well, we have guidance from commerce, guidance from ecology, as I mentioned, that are in the compendium of those studies that support buffers in particular. But Rudd, to your point, I think that's a conversation we should have when we're doing the CAO update. I think that's a really germane topic to talk about then.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I just and yeah, Mark, all I want for this for the constituents, for people in the county is predictability. That's the number one thing that's going to get everything done is just predictability. The rules can be tough. That's not the issue. They're just going to be predictable. Right.
I'd be arbitrary. I agree.
Right. So if I'm not getting any support on this, then the next one here that's not related to best available science is 10, what I call new policy 10B10.
Are you skipping your 10B9?
Well, actually, you know what? If you can put 10B9 up and just strike the reference, the last two lines. So after stop after yeah. So start with N supported and strike that, right? Yeah, that would be what I propose.
Okay. I'll give that a second.
Kelvin, so I think.
Go ahead,
or I
go
guess
ahead,
Rudd-
Commissioner Dunn.
Thanks. So Rudd, if I'm reading this right, the policy is the 10B9 says prohibit delays and uncertainty caused by the imposition of environmental policies, conditions, or requirements that are not specifically defined in the Whatcom County Code. Is that
Yeah.
that's your motion?
Yeah. If it ain't
Okay,
in code, if it ain't in code, it doesn't apply.
That makes sense to me,
Well,
but not tomorrow.
well, there's the whole SEPA thing, which is a state law
Right.
that is intended to address potential impacts that are not specifically addressed by local codes.
Mm.
And
we have to
so,
enforce it.
Huh?
And we have
But-
to enforce it.
yeah,
Well, then how about Whatcom County Code or state law, state or federal regulations? I mean, again, the point is
And I'll
not
support
trying.
that.
Hmm?
Commissioner Brown, if that works for Mr. Presonius, I will support that amendment.
I put state and federal law.
I would suggest, if you take a friendly amendment to change the word defined to, required by.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
That's good.
Yep.
Oh,
Not trying to get around the rules, just want to know what they are.
Okay, Commissioner Hanson.
I don't have a problem with the spirit of that, but unfortunately, it seems like uncertainties and delays are often caused by lack of competence and or lack of adequate staffing by our county agencies. So I don't know how you could prohibit that.
Well, at the end of the day, this is a policy. It's not code. Right. So this doesn't have the force of law. It's to guide the ultimate writing of code.
Just to prohibit seems unreasonably inflexible in regard to the real life contingencies. That's all.
Yeah, Rod, if you take a friendly amendment, would you replace prohibit with reduce?
Or prevent maybe, or I hear what you guys are saying. I'm just trying to think of the right word.
Yeah, yeah. There can always be delays for things that are beyond our control.
Yeah.
That's,
how about avoid? How about avoid?
Oh, good, avoid, even better. Better, yeah.
When you have the wording down, I have a supporting story.
All right.
So one reason I support this is my spouse and I built a house on 2 acres. And the governing body, i.e. the building department and the planning department, said that must be wetlands on your property. And what they wanted is they wanted us to bring in a company, and they wanted holes bored every 10 feet in every direction. So a whole grid of 10-foot squares over nearly 90,000 square feet. And the cost of that was several $100,000. And they're telling us this at the counter, and a gentleman walked by and that worked for that government agency and said, I've been out on that property and it's bone dry. And the guy goes, oh, okay, you don't need to do that.
Incompetence, that's not how you do delineation.
Yeah. And so then, okay, you can have your permit.
You should drain it that way.
What's that guy's phone number?
We're gonna fire that other guy though.
Well, at any rate, so I've been through that where I've had to do delays with no logic to them, and an environmental policy that a guy at the counter implemented and told me I had to do. So that's why I support this.
Competence. That's proving my point.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this other than my story?
No.
All right. Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Greif,
No.
Hanson,
I'll abstain.
Wasseri,
Yes.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Barton.
Yeah.
Passes.
Thank you. My next one is new policy 10B-10.
Oh, okay.
Now we have a new node.
Now we have none.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Mark, did you have a comment?
Yeah, if,
Go ahead.
we could be supportive of this, if those last 2 lines just get so specific, it doesn't leave us a lot of flexibility. Would you accept a friendly amendment to just put a period after WCC?
Yeah, I mean, if you think it's clear enough, sure. I was just trying to.
I can second that.
And part of the reason I put the 50% in, Mark, is if you're going to get regulatory flexibility, it needs to be something substantial, right? I don't want to give away flexibility for a 1% increase. I want some meat in it.
Critical areas.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Hey, any discussion?
That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I seconded it.
Yeah.
So I just want to give you a little story with this is.
It is great.
Yeah.
Um,
just you might change your mind. That's right.
Well, I offered I wanted to locate a drain field somewhere because I could make it gravity fed. And in exchange, but they pushed it further into the buffer, and I said I'd offer to double the enhancement in exchange for doing that. And there's nothing in the code that would allow me to do it. even though it made sense on multiple levels. So that's the reason.
It's a short story.
Okay.
You want to make sure we're here tonight.
Seeing no other hands up, Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Dunn,
Yes.
Greif,
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Rosario,
Yes.
Van Dalen.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
passes.
Next was 10C2. I made a small change to that. I think you'll see the word. I just inserted the words there. So that's my motion.
I would second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Well,
Commissioner Hanson?
yeah, I don't mind the excess verbiage, but I'm just wondering if there might be other development objectives on top of critical need for housing that we're shortcutting by defining it in that way.
I don't think so, Jim. Like, it's a good point. I don't think so.
Either
You know,
roads, structure,
Covers all types of housing.
I'm just. I guess if you said development objectives, including or particularly the critical need for housing, it wouldn't rule out other development objectives. That's all.
if you want to move that, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, if you want to change, that's great.
So do you want to say how you do that?
Well, I would say consider multiple economic parameters, including, I'll say, development objectives for, I don't want to say including again, but I'd say, you might say particularly the critical need for housing, to give it more emphasis after development objectives.
Is it particular?
Particularly the after and cut and paste after development objectives. How that work with the next part of it? Oops, and economic, okay.
Messed up.
Is that what you meant?
I think you want the whole sentence in there.
Critical need for housing, yeah.
Then you take it off of the up above, yeah.
Oh, I see.
See what I mean? It's cut and paste.
There you go.
So that's
And
my
then
motion.
Where's the how does that work with the rest of impacts and the economic benefits? Is that another sentence then?
You know, if you put brackets around what you've just done, I think it achieves what you want.
Okay. Did you get that? Brackets?
I think, yeah, Eileen, put parentheses around particularly the need for.
Then you need to take out that comma before it, right?
Yeah. Well, look, the comma would stay before impacts.
No, before, after objectives though,
Oh,
right?
yeah, right.
We like run-on sentences.
There you go, looks
They're
good.
special units.
All right.
Documents.
Are there any additional comments?
We got a question on this one, just in the last sentence. It says, and a treaty protected resource with inherent property rights. Is that saying that the land has property rights? The economic benefits of the natural environment as a resource, amenity, and with inherent. So they're saying the natural environment has inherent property rights. I don't know if that's like technically correct.
The argument is that the treaty rights are property rights in that they have the right to fish and hunt and gather.
Yeah.
Outside of their own reservations. So
Yes.
That's kind of what the connection is. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a comment about why that's there.
Bruce. Okay, and a treaty protected resource with, it just seems like so the natural environment, it is a treaty protected resource. And it also has inherent property rights. That's how I read that one. Because like the noun, the subject we're talking about is the natural environment.
That's what it reads.
The natural environment is the resource. Natural environment is an amenity. Natural environment is a treaty protected resource. Natural environment has inherent property rights.
There should be another word besides inherent that links it to the treaty right.
I mean, what if we said, and let's see here.
Derivatives,
Natural environment
derivative property rights.
as a resource, and I mean, you can just say and a treaty protected resource.
Commissioner Brown, go ahead.
I would just actually suggest we strike with inherent property rights because it doesn't diminish the treaty protected resource.
Yeah.
That works.
That's more logical, I think, sentence there.
Makes it less subject to challenge.
Rod, are you okay with including that in your motion?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, geez.
Commissioner Hanson.
Resource is redundant now as a resource and a treaty protected resource. If you could say, you could take out the first resource, amenity and a treaty protected resource would resolve that redundancy in that sentence. Does anybody else see that?
I see it.
An editor from hell if I care not to do it. Oh.
I question Commissioner Hanson whether somebody may misinterpret that.
Oh, no, I just thought that it was grammatically redundant to use resource twice in about 7 words.
I understood that. I
Okay.
understood that part in I'm thinking that the original author of this wanted to both a resource for everyone, but also a treaty protected resource for some.
Okay.
And that was kind of how I viewed it. And otherwise I agreed with you on the redundancy.
A public resource?
That it's kind of a redundant, but that it specifically had a partial sentence in there to state that it's a treaty protected, there are treaty protected resources as well.
Okay. Well, I'll withdraw my suggestion, just expedite is done.
Kelvin, yeah, I think I'd agree with it as it reads now, because the sentence is about the economic benefits of the natural environment as a resource and the economic benefits of the natural environment as an amenity, like for mountain biking or whatever, and as a tertiary thing, a treaty protected resource. So yeah, it does feel weird to have resource twice there, but I think one, it's the economic benefits of the resource, and the other is that it's a treaty protected resource. So the resource is the subject of that one, I guess. Here.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Greif,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Osari,
Abstain.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes,
Dunn,
Yes.
Barton,
yes,
passes.
my next motion is new policy 10C-6.
It's that. There's 6. Five, 6.
okay. Right, is there a second on this?
So I've got to read it. We're 10C-6, when they ensure that environmental property. I will second it cautiously.
Can I explain?
Who asked that?
Dan, I second it.
Okay, thank you.
So if I may explain.
Go ahead, Commissioner Brown.
So RCW 3670A.0204 is straight out of the Growth Management Act. That language is that full sentence in the Growth Management Act. And one of the things that I'm frustrated with is, for example, if you look at the Bellingham Comprehensive Plan, they abbreviate this to say to plan for affordable housing, and that's not what it says. It says the Growth Management Act says you've got to plan for all housing segments, not just affordable housing segments. So the purpose of this is to remind, when we're doing environmental stuff, that we have an obligation under the GMA to accommodate housing, and we've got an obligation to accommodate all types of housing and densities. So that's the logic.
Could you put an S after delay, just delays? Yeah.
Commissioner
Would you
Hanson,
take? Go first. Would you take a friendly amendment?
As long as you're not changing the RCWs.
No, and take out the words, discourages and delays. So that it just doesn't prevent. Right? I mean, that's reasonable use, right? Worst case scenario, you still get to develop, even if you're gonna impact critical areas. But the way it's written, any delay of a housing project, well, again, delays are oftentimes beyond our control, and I don't even know what delay means, you know. from a
How about
statute.
how about sorry, Mark, go on.
No. Scott, did you have something?
How about before the word discourages, intentionally?
Oh.
Commissioner Brown, I think that's a weasel word.
No, before discouraged.
It's still a weasel word.
Well, no. Let me argue is that
No.
you can get someone who doesn't like a project, and one of the ways of saying I don't like a project is I'm just going to delay it, and that's true in every jurisdiction in the world.
Well, sure, I mean, but anybody can appeal a permit, right? And yeah, if they're
If they really want to, they can do that. That's that's another thing that's beyond our control, right?
Oh, no,
We-
no. Yeah, no, that's for sure. So I'm only referring to what the county does. You can't control what third parties do.
Right.
And Commissioner Brown, I agree with your word, but there isn't a word to really describe what needs to be there because intentionally delay and again, coming from a background of working for the government and there are some really great people and there are some people that are really vindictive and my wife and I have had one of those that was really vindictive. And but he always had a reason why it met the code, though it didn't. So that's why I said it's a weasel word.
Okay. So maybe maybe the thing that's causing you grief, Mark, is the word decisions. Maybe if decisions was replaced by regulations or process.
Sure, that would be more helpful. But I still would want to just get rid of discourages or delays because we still have, yes, that RCW applies, but so do all the RCWs that require us to protect wetlands and critical areas. Right, that's always a balance. So one doesn't necessarily trump the other.
Where is he? Hello?
No, but
Hold on, my turn.
I yield to Jim.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Hanson.
I'd like to keep a firewall between administrative processes and policymaking processes. And I don't think we can tell the executive branch how, in what fashion their staff are going to implement the policies that we make. I think we could ensure that the regulations comply with the RCW, and then we'll make it a political matter whether the staff, as directed by coming down from the executive through the management train, are doing a good job of implementing those policies and regulations. So I think we need to separate the two because I agree that things should be done in an efficient and a non-discriminatory way. But I think we should just talk about policy and not talk about implementation.
I mean, we could change it to say something like, ensure that the planning department has adequate staffing and resources. Carry out its statutory requirements.
Oh, Mark, if you want to put that forward, I'll vote for that one.
When are we gonna see the budget?
Yeah,
I think with this one, I'm less comfortable with the words intentionally discourages. I don't know how we prove that. You have to have an email from a planner who says, I'm intentionally discouraging your project. I'm comfortable with decisions are not applied in a way that prevents housing construction. But I think we'd find another way to kind of, the word intentionally discourages delays are the three words that I'm having a little bit of concern with.
okay. All right. So how about this as we change the word decisions to process and then just say are applied.
Okay, I see.
And then strike the word not. And then
You said regulations.
Yeah.
So
Does not prevent.
well, I was actually going to say, why don't we make it a positive? It promotes housing construction.
There you go.
Ensures that the regular permitted development regulations by the county promote.
Keep typing.
I think
In a way.
Or facilitates, maybe facilitates is better.
Yeah. No, that sounds more positive.
I'm not trying to be negative as much as I feel crappy from this cold.
So. I'm glad you stayed home with your cold.
Yeah, well, there's some things I don't like to share if I can avoid it.
Good plan.
In a manner that facilitates.
In a manner, yep.
There you go.
That's the structure. This area. Okay, nice.
That's more positive. Yeah, so basically. Go with the code.
Love it. Love it, Red. Looks good.
Right. Any more discussion on this? Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Hanson,
Yes.
Osari,
Abstain.
Van Dalen,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Greif,
Yes.
Barton,
Abstain.
it passes.
Okay. My next was 10K3. And this got a bit butchered from the old one. Eileen, I just recommend you put this in the next to the existing one because it'll just be probably easier to see the difference.
Great.
What page is 10K on?
10-56.
All right, verbiage in between.
Yeah. See, that's what I was saying. Cut all that out.
Oh, actually, I realize what I did here is, sorry, is the first part that was deleted, I restored. The second part that was added, I deleted. And then I changed the paragraph from starting with emphasize conservation. That's been pretty much changed.
You see this one? Before I type it on.
Just wait, just wait.
Can you move that up? Really?
It was gain over.
So again, the first part is restoring what was deleted. The second part is deleting what was added. And the third part is rewriting the last paragraph. If I get a second, I'll explain it.
Yeah, I second that.
Right. I'm a big fan of there's two things I'm really a big fan of. I want to see ecological gain, but I don't want to see it funded by the taxpayer. I think it's slow, cumbersome, and too much of a burden. I think there's lots of opportunity for the private sector to fund it if they're given the right incentives. And they'll do it a hell of a lot faster than government ever can, just because of the process government has to go through.
Rudd, the phrase as consideration, how do you change that to, as incentive for? Or as an incentive for?
Yeah, I mean, that probably works. But I'd say one of the things I'm trying to achieve here, so the minimum lot size you can do a proper development, a subdivision in the county without fire flow is 1 acre. I would have been quite happy to do less than 1 acre per lot, but there's nowhere in the code to do it. And you know, in that particular example, the code allows me to convert 21 acres of land for a development. I've done it with 14 acres, so I've returned 7 acres to agriculture that I'm not required to, because that's what I want to do. But I can't get past the rest of the rules to make them even smaller. So, and I just want to, and it's just frustrating because there's just no mechanism in the code to do it.
I think, could you put after, as an incentive for, could put in utilizing? I think that might help the grammatical. Yeah. I don't think it changes much of the thing other than the funding. Yeah.
And really what I want, Mark, is I want the code to be flexible. And I'd like the staff to have the flexibility to say, yeah, we could do it this way. You know, you give us some more buffer, you give us some more protections or more ag land, and we've got flexibility to change, to let you do something else over here. So,
Commissioner Hanson.
I don't know if I support this or not, but I think it over taxpayer funded is vague. In preference to or something like that would be more descriptive.
yeah, that's a good catch, Jim.
Yeah, with the word over, you say instead of?
Or in preference to. I think I like Jim's comment better.
Will you insert Jim's comment there, Eileen?
Ecological gain and what?
In preference to taxpayer.
And Rod, I encourage you to be careful with the code flexibility there, because it's nice when it's flexible in your favor, but it's not great when it's flexible in somebody else's favor. Different stakeholders flavor, you know.
More flexibility, less certainty. That's the other way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Commissioner Masseri.
That was my entire point. I prefer to have very clear cut code guidelines, which I thought was something I've heard you say before, predictability, and now we're
Flexibility.
specifically saying flexibility, which is not predictable.
Yeah, actually, no, that's a good point. So maybe it's the use of waivers of the strict application.
Options, waivers, he says.
Yeah, the strict application of the code.
That's
More
better.
flexibility.
I mean, you're right. You want the flexibility. You want predictability. Number one, you want predictability.
Well,
Is it in the street? Is that what you said?
That's what I said. How would you interpret that as a planner, Mark?
I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know what it means. I mean, the code has exemptions, right, and exceptions. We don't have waivers. per se, that word, but, I mean, those things are already in the code, but it's the flexibility you really want. I'm just saying you can't have flexibility in certainty, right? So there's a trade-off there. If you want flexibility, and every property is different, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the black and white doesn't work so.
Yeah,
all the time.
it's so true.
Every property is different, so.
Yep.
So maybe it's emphasize the reduction of the strict application.
Yeah,
Well,
See, discretion, staff discretion comes in here.
right,
yeah,
Uh,
you throw these qualitative answers versus the quantitative
Right.
decision.
I'm okay with flexibility, because that's a loose term.
I think, I understand where people are coming from about flexibility, but I think that that's probably the best word in this, my opinion.
Well, let's return to flexibility. Again, this is not code, this is, plan.
Uh-oh. You took an hour.
All right, any other comments? Eileen, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Hanson,
No,
Wasseri,
No.
Van Dalen,
No,
Brown,
Yes.
Dunn,
I'm gonna abstain.
Gripe,
no.
Barton,
Yes.
motion failed.
Next one.
Sorry, Kelvin, can I just check in? We're at a little past 9 o'clock. I know Rudd's got more motions. I've got more motions.
I'm still.
Dominic had motions. Do we wanna, we wanna stay here for another 2 hours, finish this up, or do we wanna postpone this till the next,
You're a really good salesman there, Dan.
do you wanna stab yourself in the face with a knife, or do you wanna eat this chocolate cake? That's what I'm saying.
I'll go with cake, yeah.
We got that answered.
I'd make motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
How many more
Okay,
motions do we have?
A lot.
A lot.
Oh, okay.
okay. What I'm hearing is we're adjourning.
So you just
Yeah.
put off retirement a couple more months.
Okay.
I just wanna let y'all know that we do have Zoom on up until 9:30 or 10 if needed.
If needed.
If needed. But because the motion's already on the table,
I wanna go home.
So it
Well,
passed,
we've
right?
talked about adjourning and we've talked about staying. Do you want to vote on it?
Motions to adjourn.
Motion-
yes, I already have a motion in a second.
Okay. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Yeah, I have it.
Meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, commissioners.
Yes.
Thank you.
Basically,
I will add all this.
they're not worried about you in the lawsuit, but they want you to get your name in, so it makes you